Aloha, beautiful beings. Welcome to my channel. My name is Mana, and I am so grateful that you are here with me today. Today, I wanted to connect in and speak a little bit about my journey going from Mormonism to spirituality. And there are many different types of Mormonism. The type of Mormon that I was previously is called a Latter-day Saint, which is a Christian-based religion. And it's a Christian-based religion because they do believe in Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ being their Lord and Savior. So this journey for me, again, started when I was 15 years old. I was living in Nevada. And for me, I have, even before I became Mormon, again, like I was in many different religions before, I always believed in God. And I believed in Jesus Christ. There was a lot of fear surrounding the concept of God and the concept of Jesus Christ, right? Because I felt like there was, like, I'm gonna go to hell, right? I have to do certain things in order to gain my entry into heaven. So with thinking about God or thinking about Jesus Christ, there's actually a lot of fear behind those different things. When it came to Mormonism, one of the main reasons why I actually joined the Mormon church, so I was a convert, not someone that was born into the church. And one of the main reasons why I joined that church is because logically in my mind, it made sense at the time. At that time, they seemed to have a lot of answers. I had a lot of questions, and even to things that I maybe didn't even consider at that time, there were lots of answers. And I feel like this was something that I hadn't really received from a lot of the other religions that I had been in. Maybe I didn't go deep enough. And I was also a child. And so, you know, at 15, you're starting to discover more of yourself, more of who you are, and you're more exploratory. And for me, I had a friend who was Mormon, and he actually invited me to the church. And that's where it all began and how it went. And again, they had lots of answers. And logically, not tapping into my intuition or tapping into my heart, it was like, well, they seem to have a lot of the answers. So if this church is not true, then there's no true church. And ultimately, that is the conclusion that I came to. But I really held the belief strongly, you know, that there has to be some sort of religion that's true, right? And so, again, the Mormonism thing, Latter-day Saint, just was right for me at the time. And I truly believe that it was right for me at the time. It has definitely shaped me to become the person that I am. I definitely feel like I needed to go on that journey so I could discover who I was, and also to do the work that I do, because I do help a lot of people rediscover who they are. And many people who leave religion. And so I needed to go on that journey so I can understand, I could understand that process and what they're going through. And that my life could also be example for other people who I'm going to say this, who have eyes to see and have ears to hear, because this message is not for everybody. It is truly for those who feel called to listen to this message. And I'm not here to judge anybody. If you are in a religion or a religion is working for you, then that's beautiful. Continue on your journey. This message is not for you. So with becoming a Latter-day Saint, I really delved deeply into that church and learning a lot about it. Even though I became LDS when I was 15, I went to seminary. So I was already in high school at that time, and seminary actually starts at the beginning when you first start high school, so your freshman year. And so I actually took summer school where I went back and I learned a lot of the things that you would have already learned. And so I went really deeply into this so I could really soak up all of the knowledge and information. I always consider myself a student, no matter where I am in my journey, no matter where I am in my life. Even at this point in my life, I am always going to be a student of the universe. I'm always going to be somebody who wants to learn more, because consciousness is always seeking to expand. And I just want to learn because it's so much fun. So with that, I delved deeply into it. I even took up on positions in the church. They're called church calling. So I had multiple different types of positions in the church, where I was like a primary teacher. So I was teaching little kids, and I was teaching other women. So I had many different callings in this church. And honestly, I learned so much from being in the LDS church. They taught me a lot about community. This was something that I never had experienced. This is something that I never really truly have, what it's like to really have community. And because of that, I do understand why community is so important. And that is something that I and many other people are bringing here back, is community, because we were never meant to do things alone. We were always meant to do things with other people. We are human beings, and human beings need other people. You know those, there's like a story, and I don't remember what the name of the story was, but it's about like when there was like these children and anyways, let me just cut to the chase. Like if you don't receive love, you literally die. If a baby is not getting the love and attention, it's going to suffer. And it's the same thing with, no matter how old you are, like you need love, you need connection. We need connection. We need community. We need other people. So we were never meant to do this alone. And that is something that I'm very grateful for, that I was able to experience in the church and what I received. And what I will say in general about that is that many religions have a lot of things in it that you can take from it that I would say you would consider a pearl. Because it's like a pearl of wisdom. It's something that you can take and that you can use in your daily life that will actually support you. My issue when it comes to religion is like they mix in things that are truth, right? But then there's like all these things that are not true that are mixed in. so you can get really confused in that. And again, your journey is yours. So you do whatever you want, because we have free will. So you get to decide how you want to live your life, what you want to do. But for me, there is a cap. When I was in Mormonism, I've reached a point where it was no longer serving me. When it comes to religion, like I say, like there's a cap. You can only go so far. You can only go so far, and then that's it. And then it's like you putting God in a box. And how can you put God in a box? Impossible. So I knew, like it was time for me to leave when that was happening. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But back to some of the things that I received from the LDS church. I actually feel like I really was able to humble myself when I was involved in the church. And this is something that I carry with me even still today, is humility. And also just being able to be kind to people. That is something that I feel like has always been within me, but as like you go through your teenage years, you start to like be a little bit unruly. So it actually tempered me a lot in those teenage years, and to be a lot kinder to people. And this is something that I continue to carry without me. And also it continued to expand as my journey expanded, because I started to realize as I went through my spiritual journey, like that golden rule, right? You want to treat people the way that you want to be treated, because ultimately what I know to be true is that we are all one. And so why would I treat anybody else less than me, or why would I want to hurt them in any way? I would only want to love myself. And so I always choose to give love to other people. So I actually lived with a LDS family for a while. And in this family, I actually was able to really come to know what it's like to not have such a chaotic family lifestyle. I have a pretty traumatic background, and not to like, no fault on my parents did the best that they could do. Like all parents, I feel like a lot of parents, I'm going to say all parents, but many parents are doing the best job that they can do, right? They have their own trauma, they have their own shit. And so they're just doing what they can, right? And my parents were really young when they had me. My mom was only 14 years old when she got pregnant with me. So they had a pretty hard life themselves. So I don't blame them. And I'm really grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for everything that they were able to do for me. And with that being said, I learned so much from living with this family. And I feel like for me, it was an opportunity for me to really come to know what it's like to have a real family, and also to receive love, and love from parents and from other people, like the community. And that way I never at that time knew what it was like to really truly feel loved by a mom. And so I'm really grateful for that experience. I'm so grateful to have had that experience. That experience that I went through really truly meant the world to me. And I will always cherish those memories that I had with them and with that family. And they helped me so much as well. Even when I started to go to college, when I moved to Utah. So that's a little bit where my story starts to spin off, is actually as I got a little bit older and I went to college. I moved so I started my journey in Nevada, and then I ended up moving back to California. And then from California, I moved to Utah, and Utah is where I went to Brigham Young University. And that is where my life started to change. I ended up doing a lot of the Mormon things. The Mormon things is, right, like you get married and you have kids. I went through the temple. I got sealed in the temple. You're told to multiply and replenish. Side note, when I look back and I think about that message that we received, ultimately, I feel like it is us receiving a message to, well, yeah, we're here to multiply and replenish, sure, but we're here to do a lot more than that. But I actually feel like this is a religion building an army of people who are brainwashed. So, and that's sad for me. It's really sad. But I also know that many people have pulled out of it, and many people are coming to know the truth on their own. I got married again. I had kids. I did all that temple stuff. And eventually what happened with me is my life started to fall apart. I started to go through what they call it. It's like a tower moment in the tarot. This was like the very first dark night of soul that I started to go through. And my marriage was falling apart. It was a horrible marriage. Should have never got married in the first place. Didn't listen to my intuition then. Even though I knew at the time I was getting married to this person, I knew it deep down in my heart that I shouldn't marry this person. And I did it anyways. That was karma for me. I feel like, at the end of the day, I was meant to have that experience because I learned from it. And I learned so much also about my intuition, and also, oh, this is when my heart is really telling me, no, that's not right for you. Or yes, this is right for you. If I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't be as in tune as I am right now. A lot of the ways that we learn, and especially for me, is by learning by doing the wrong thing first. So it's trial and error, right? And it's like, oh, this was teaching me. Oh, I did feel that and I didn't listen. So there are consequences. There are consequences for every single thing you do. Consequences are just consequences, not good or bad, and you're going to receive them no matter what. The best thing you can do is do your best to make the most aligned decision for you at that time. So I ended up going through a divorce. I gave it everything that I feel like I could at that time while I was in a marriage. And it just wasn't meant to be. And so I did not know what I was going to do when I left this marriage. I was very codependent. I went from, going to college to being married. I had nothing of my own. We lived together, all our bank accounts together, everything's together. We're paying for things together. In my mind, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I had no idea. All I knew is that I needed to do it. And I had trust and faith that I was going to be led in the right direction. I had no other choice. I was going to go through this because this is what God wanted for me. And I'm grateful for it because my life has changed so much for the better. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So this was the first dark night of soul that I started to go through. My life started to change at this point. When I was going through my divorce, I started to delve more into spirituality concepts. I can't remember like the very first thing that that kind of got me interested in it, except for the fact that I had been working with someone at that time, and she told me about tarot. And I feel like this is like the beginning of my spiritual journey in my adult years. Can't remember if anything really happened before that, but the tarot card reader that she told me about, I felt called when this friend was telling me about this reading that she had, that was meant for me. And I was like, I know that I need to go do this. I just felt like I needed to do it. So I got the information and I went to see this reader, and it was really dope and cool. And I was interested in some of the things that she was doing. I was interested in some of her work. And I asked her how did she get involved in the stuff that she does. And she told me she meditated. So she did a guided meditation. So that's actually what I took. That was a pearl that I took. And I looked up guided meditations on YouTube. And I can't remember if it was Jason Stevenson or it was a super popular meditation station on YouTube, and it's only gotten so much bigger. So I looked up a guided meditation to speak with like your guardian angel, and you guys can, I'm sure I have tons of videos where I talk about this. But that actually opened me up a lot. When I first meditated that way, I received a huge download. I had no expectations of this happening. I didn't even think that this was going to happen. I didn't think I was going to get information like this, but it actually really opened up my third eye, and I got a lot of information, and I could see and I could feel everything that was happening with me, and when I was receiving this download. And when I come up out of it, my life changed even more. So my spirit guide did not tell me that when my third eye was opening after I received this download, that I was gonna be open and seeing and feeling spirit everywhere. And let me tell you, angels and spirit guides do not feel the same as earthbound spirits. So when I say earthbound spirits, I'm talking about people who have had a body and who have passed away and who have not crossed over. These bodies feel dense. They feel dense and heavy. Some of them don't even know that they're dead. Some of them do know that they're dead. They want to hang around and play games and things like that. So my third eye was blasted all the way freaking open. And I started to experience spirit. Because spirit and spirits. Not just the angels, okay? Not just divine beings of light. And you can discern how these energies feel because you can feel it in your body. They cannot lie. Your body will never lie to you. Your body's always going to tell you the truth. Your heart is always going to tell you the truth. Your heart is always going to tell you the truth. Well, I received this download of information and I started to just explore more of that world. I went to the bishop, which is a leader in the church. It's a leader of the ward. And I asked him what he thought about people who are able to see spirit, talk to spirits, receive information and messages. And what I got from him was it's demonic. And that was the first time that I was like, the church is not for me. Because I knew that the angels were not demonic. Yeah, there's tons of demonic beings. There's tons of demonic beings if you want to communicate with them. But why is it that church leaders can communicate with spirit and can communicate with God, but everybody else can't receive those messages? Like, there's church leaders that were talking to their dead spouses and they can receive messages for them, but we can't? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. We have a direct connection to source consciousness. We have a direct connection to spirit. We don't need any intermediate. It's not needed anymore. We can connect all on our fucking own. And we should. Because we're giving our power away when we don't do that. We're saying, well, I'm just going to go ahead and trust this person and just follow them no matter what. We should always be using our fucking discernment. Always. And so that is when I decided I was going to start stepping out. Because I knew that wasn't true. I just knew that wasn't true. Why can they only speak to angels and speak to God? What? No. Fuck that. And you know what? I got a patriarchal blessing when I was in the LDS church. And guess what the fuck that is? That is a psychic reading. That's literally a psychic reading. They're literally channeling, the patriarch is channeling the information and bringing it here. And that patriarchal reading that I got told me that I was going to be a teacher. Told me all this stuff about my life. And guess what? I am a motherfucking teacher. That was a psychic reading. That's what that was. So if they can be psychics, everybody else can be psychics too. It is not owned by the church. And the gifts that we have, the priesthood, it's not only the men can bless. Fuck that shit. No. You have God within you. You have the ability to bless every single person that you come in contact with. God is within you. God is within you. So I started to pull out from the church from that point, and I just kept going deeper into my journey. When I left the church, I didn't submit my name to be removed. I just left and didn't associate with the church very much, or I had to completely leave everybody, all those friends behind, all the everything. Like I felt very alone. And sometimes you're gonna feel like that when you're going on this journey, because you have to find yourself. You have to find out who you are. And then other people will begin to come back into your life. Because again, we're not meant to be alone. Because you have a family of light. You have soulmates that you are meant to share this beautiful world with, that are going to love you far beyond what you could ever imagine. You have friends in high places. You have friends that you haven't even fucking met yet. So I left, and at one point, this is kind of like spiraling a little bit into my knowingness when it comes to source and God consciousness. I started to actually believe that there must not even be a God, right? It spans into a little bit of narcissism because I had to find myself. And that's okay. You're going to go through whatever the fuck you're going to go through. So what I will say is trust your journey. So at one point, it's like, there is no fucking God. That's what I started. How? There is no God. So I started to believe that. And I went from that because being in religion, it was a lot of fear. It's like, oh, you're going to go to hell if you don't do this. Like, I felt so much unworthiness being in the LDS church. And that's one thing I would say is you should always teach your kids that they're always worthy, no matter what they do. God is always going to love them, and God is going to forgive them for anything that they feel like they have done. And that is what it is. But my self-worth was crushed with religion. Crushed. No wonder why there's so many suicides. I wanted to kill myself at one point. I literally remember saying, is this all there is? Is this it? You know, we work hard and fucking die? Slavery, literally slavery, except for we're not fucking getting whipped physically, but you're getting whipped spiritually. You're getting whipped by everyone around. You're getting whipped by the government. Like, literally, it fucking sucked. That was hell. That was fucking hell. I went through hell when I went through that whole journey. And now I'm all about creating heaven on earth, baby. That's what I'm about. Fuck hell. And hell is whatever you make of it. You are the creator of your reality. So hell and heaven exist right here, right now. There's no, I gotta wait until after, I die and that's what's gonna happen. No, it's right here, right now. You get the consequences, the rewards, the karma, everything right here, right fucking now. There's nothing but the now. All you have is right now. Right now. Right now. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me and my journey. I've done so much work on myself, and there's still so much more to do, right? We're never going to be perfect, you guys. There's no such thing as perfect. You can only be perfect in your imperfectness. Right? There's always going to be healing that needs to be done. There's always going to be work that needs to be done. But can you enjoy where you are right now? Can you just take the steps that your higher self is leading you to take in the present moment? And then in those moments where it's just like, let me just pause and reflect and just be. Like, we're human beings. We're here to just be. We're here to have fun. Like, is that insane? That we're here to have fun? That God wants us to have fun? Yeah, like that's what God wants. Listen, if you believe in God, if you believe in source consciousness, then you believe that God is your creator, right? God created you. You are a child of God. And so why would a parent create a child and not give everything to them? If you are a parent and you're watching this, don't you want the best for your child? Don't you give your child everything? You give them all that you could possibly give them to set them up the best. Don't you want your children to be better than you? That's what God wants for you too. God is giving you everything, and you get to create the reality that you want. You can have it all if you want it. And if you truly believe that you deserve it, the universe, source, God, goddess, whatever you want to call it, that source that is within us all, that is within everything that is around us, wants you to be happy. And also you have free will. So you get to decide heaven or hell. What do I want? What do you want, baby? I'll give you whatever you want. So, yeah, I went from that fear to there's no God, to God is everything. God is in me. God is within all. God is everything. I cannot look at anyone or anything and not see God. I know who you are. I know who you are. And it's up to you to remember. The time is now. So, if you need any support, I'm here. I have a monthly group that I do every single month. It's called a heart-to-heart circle. It's a beautiful community. I do both online and in person. These are authentic, raw conversations that we have. These are people who are coming in the real, not no fake shit. I invite you. You are not alone. There are many other people just like you who are looking for you. And so we need you to remember, we need you to be you. Thank you for watching this video. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. I may have missed a few things, but if you guys have any questions or if there's something else that you want me to touch on, feel free to reach out, feel free to put in the comments. Please like, comment, or share if you gained any insight or anything that you felt inspired about while watching this video. I really, truly appreciate you. From my heart to yours, I love you so much. Thank you.